right? That property has a big lift. You got to do a lot of to it. You got to spend your whole summer here.
This is only the second time this has ever been on the market.
She said between 3 and 4 million, which means she's getting offers at. So here's what we're going to do. After we go to the seller appointment, what I want to know from both of you guys. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys both this question that I think the YouTube audience will want to know. If you own this property, what would you do different to make it profitable? Because in order to know that, you got to ask the right questions. Like, what is the season? You know, because basically you're dead 6 months out of the year, I imagine. Maybe it's even longer. I don't know. We got to figure that out. What does it take to run this thing? Like, do you have 3 people on staff? And when somebody says, "Oh no, it's just me," you're like, "Oh crap, I don't want to be that person, so I got to hire somebody." What does that look like, right? And you got to figure out, what does this thing cost to run? And then we got to figure out the monthly payment, the insurance, the upkeep, and all that kind of stuff, and be like, okay, this property is going to cost 50 grand a month to run. How do you make 100 grand a month so after taxes you actually have a profit and the payment on the property is made, right? As you guys are watching that video on YouTube, make some comments down below of questions you think I should have asked, because I'm not perfect. Your thoughts of what you would do with the property in order to make it profitable. I think it's very old, right? The property? Like they got old log cabins that just need to be knocked down. What would you guys rather do? Would you rather live here up in Summers, down here, like around this corner? Would you rather live up in the middle of Kalispell? Is it better to be outside the city on a bigger lake, or inside the city with like shopping and gas stations and things to do and close to Jerry? Eric's like,
world both, but
this place is going to be so sweet, we're going to forget Jerry even has a place in Kalispell.
I bet, dude.
I mean, it's pretty epic.
I think it'll be that sweet. Ooh, and you know what's funny? Is if you have to get off this road to go to a cherry farm, why is there not a sign up here that says like, turn left for cherry farm? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my first thought. Because that's the main thoroughfare, right?
Yep.
So why wouldn't you like go to this landowner and go, can I put a sign here? Can I tell people this way to the cherry farm? The smart thing that they should be doing is I think for this farm, they should be charging $20 a head just to get in. Like, it's an experience. Like, come on, you can, if you come during 4 or 5 hours during the day, they're doing tractor rides. There's a bouncy house for kids. This is tucked back. That's somewhat problematic, right? You've got to meander all the way down here. It's good if you live back here, but if you're trying to bring and entice people to drive into your business, this is not ideal. Yeah, you could do charters too. You could get like a big boat where it's like you could have parties and stuff on the boat, and like rent the boat out type of thing.
Weddings, dude.
Yeah, wedding. Yeah, why not?
This is only the second time this has ever been on the market.
How amazing is it that you have this little bay?
Also, the best fishing on the lake is right out there. That's why all those boats are there.
4.5 million. Yeah, so you could produce, this property could produce money, but I could also produce that somewhere else. Look how cool your life is.
So let's show you guys.
You could tell her family built it. It wasn't like a professional builder, Here's something to think about. You notice I didn't bring up seller finance to her until the very end, because you want to build a rapport first, and then you also want to get her to a point where she feels like, is this guy gonna talk price, or is he just gonna build rapport? And then I finally bring has he brought up seller finance? Nope, I don't even know what that is. And then I paused on it and I let it marinate in her brain for a second before I said, well, seller finance would really work out. Maybe I'll talk to your agent about it. And I just kind of trickled it in. And then at the end, she's like, yeah, I would do something like that. And isn't that funny that the agent's been sitting here trying to sell this ooh, wow, I suck. The agent's been trying to sell this property for an entire year. I mean, here's what's cool about it. That lake is phenomenal. You've got 100-year-old trees. That lot on the lake is about as special as it can get. But again, for $5.5 million, what else can you find on the lake? What she's not paying attention to is that somebody, could I buy that property right there for $5.5 million? You have more of a view, right? You've got all this grass. You don't have to contend with building and developing and getting rid of all that rock. And while the cherry trees and all that kind of stuff are special, it's only harvesting for a week. You got to do all that work for 1 week of harvest per year, and it's primarily cherry trees. It's way more problems than it is benefits, to be honest. That plot of land is the only thing of value. Everything else is an annoyance that needs to be taken down. I mean, would there be anything you would take down on or keep on that property?
You would just keep the old cabins just for the aesthetic.
The only way to make money on that is to turn it into an event center. But again, where else can I do an event center that has more convenience? There's, shopping nearby. If somebody's like, I know this sounds really horrible, but what if a woman's like, oh my gosh, I have no tampons and I need to run to a CVS real fast and she's at your event. And you're like, yeah, the closest place you can get a tampon is 30 minutes away.
You'd have to stock up on supplies like that. That could
Right. So what if you just bought Brian Norton's, Brian Norton bought his farm for $2 million, it's 24 acres. He put about $2 million into it. So he's all into it for $4 million, but it's twice the space. And Brian's like, we're not going to the lake every day. We do other things. Like the lake's cool, but I can go down the lake if we're really into it. I just enjoy the summers here and, having all this open space. So you could buy something way cooler than that orchard. If it was fruit that you could make money on and you could turn that into a summer-long retreat for people where you've got apples producing this week, cherries producing a month later, apricots producing a month later, and you had like 3 months, then it would make sense. But since all the fruit produces in 1 week, I can see why they have a hard time. They're losing so much money.
Their cherry trees are right in the middle of the best view. The cherries have the best view.
Yeah, the cherries have the best view. The cherries have the best view. So now what are you left with? You're left with that shoreline.
There is one huge benefit to getting this though. We can open up a cherry farm and call it Cherry Norton's.
Yes, Cherry Norton. Wow. I think the smart thing to do is submit an offer that's ridiculous, and just hear him say no, right? And hear her say no. But worst case scenario, what would make that property make sense? And can you find something that has less lift than that property? Right? That property has a big lift. You got to do a lot of crap to it. You got to spend your whole summer here. And if you put my brain into anything else for 30 days, then, managing a project like that, you make way more money that benefits way more people. So it's like there is nothing that would make that property make sense. It's like you need a turnkey property, a property that somebody's already built, there's a barn dominium on it.
Or hey, just give me something flat that I can just build on.
Yeah, no shit. You're telling me I gotta buy something at an inflated price that you have not even gotten an offer on yet? Or she did get offers, 3 million. She said between 3 and 4 million, which means she's getting offers at 3.1 million. She's like, well, yeah, it's gonna go in a trust for the kids. Okay, well, couldn't you just charge me interest on this for the next 20 years and all of the money goes in the trust for the kids? But then again, there's no reception down here, which is annoying. Do you want to buy a property that has no cell reception? No. You want to be able to work. I bet they don't even have internet service there. Yeah, the closest satellite pole is right there, 2 miles away in Lakeside. Well, that's it, guys. Sorry. We'll have to figure it out. I think what I'll do is I'll submit an offer just for practice. When we get home, Erica would just remind me hey, let's call David and wrap up the call and just go, hey, David, I think I can offer 4.5 with $500,000 down, and the seller has to carry the 4 million for 20 years, and she can charge me 4% interest. And just make the offer, even if it doesn't make sense. What's going to happen in 6 months or a year when they still haven't sold? Guess what? They're going to call us, right? And now Eric can buy that property.